Thank you for listening to Discover the Scriptures with Dr. Peter-John Parisis. Currently, we're in Daniel, chapter 6, verse 26. Reading from the King James Bible, quote, I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble in fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. Unquote. Now, before we start parsing the original language, the Aramaic, and we get into the Septuagint and study this in the literal Bible, let's have a word of prayer and ask God for wisdom and common sense and instruction, and just give us the real depth of what he wants here. Dear God, I just come to you in prayer, Father, and I just ask that if there's any sin at all that I've committed, you please forgive me. If there's any prayer hindrances in my way, have my prayer answered, I'd ask that you would please show me them. I get them taken care of. Father, thank you. Thank you for a wonderful day. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in front of your word, to listen to it, to read it, to meditate on it, to make it part of my spiritual growth with you. Thank you for the ministry, and I ask that you be with each person out here who's listening. I ask you to be with each one, that you would hear the petitions that Jesus is making for them. For he truly has lived in our footsteps. He was a man who knew every part of our life. He worked with his hands. He ran a business. He saw his dad die early. He was with brothers and sisters. He was under oppression by the Romans. He went through probably everything we went through, or almost. But he understands us. He's seen people like us, and he understands our hurts, our pains, our desires, our wishes, our loneliness. And Lord, you just listen to his petitions for us and grant them for us today. Just give us a little bit of relief. And I just ask that you give each person that's listening, and myself, the wisdom and the knowledge concerning the scriptures that we're looking at today. And help us to feel a closeness to you like never before. Help us to lean on you and to tell you in our prayers how we feel honestly. And spend time with you. And then at the end of our prayer, to take time in silence out of respect to you, and just to ask you to talk to us and just be there in silence, listening with faith, believing that you will and can and will talk to us. It took a couple months for me to hear your voice, but I was there, not giving up, asking, until you finally spoke with me. And I appreciate that. But each listener out there, I probably have never experienced that, Lord. And I'm asking that you would please help them to pursue that and do that. Please. And then help them to tell others about this ministry so that people can hear the scriptures, learn the languages. Lord, you know when they gave me 6 weeks to live, I was there, and all I wanted to do was read the Bible in the original languages myself, so I could know my eternity was secure. I would know, and I wouldn't have to rely on mistakes that I knew ministers had already made, that I listened to and ruined part of my life because of it. And you allowed me to live when all the doctors told me there was no hope. And now it's 11 plus years. Still battling with one, but the others are gone. So it's still real in my life, but it was real with Dr. J. McKee too. When he came through the Bible, radio broadcast, going through the Bible for 5 years, it was real in his life. It's still real in my life. But you bless me with another day. And I pray and ask that you would bless me to live long enough to be able to complete this ministry. From Genesis to Revelations, every single solitary verse, like he did with John Gill when he wrote it out. Let this be audible so that every person can hear it. Please, we're before you. We need you. I'm asking this all in Jesus Christ's name for each one of us. Now I give a moment of silence after this prayer and asking and trusting that you will please talk with us. Good, thank you. If you need any more time, please hit your pause button. Let's go forward. Let's go ahead and read this in the Septuagint. Quote, "This decree has been set forth by me in every dominion of my kingdom, that men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living and eternal God, and his kingdom shall not be destroyed, and his dominion is forever." Let's take a look at this in the Young's Literal Translation. It's a Bible that's not copyrighted and it is worthy of studies. I would stay away from the other ones that I don't use for studying. So here it is, quote, "From before me is made a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom they are trembling and fearing before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, and abiding to the ages, and his kingdom that which is not destroyed, and his dominion is unto the end," unquote. Now, it's important that we read this in context. The paragraph that it was written in. I'm going to read it in the Septuagint because it's a fuller paragraph for you. Starting out with Daniel chapter 6, verse 25 through 28. Quote, "Then King Darius wrote to all nations, tribes, and languages, who dwell in all the earth, saying, Peace be multiplied to you. This decree has been set forth by me in every dominion of my kingdom, that men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living and eternal God, and his kingdom shall not be destroyed, and his dominion is forever. He helps and delivers and works signs and wonders in the heaven and on the earth, who has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. And Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian," unquote. Now, I want you to take a look at this. That is the paragraph in the Septuagint Greek Bible. Now, this is the paragraph for the King James Bible. Daniel chapter 6, verse 25, going only through 27. Quote, "Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, Peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and steadfast forever. And his kingdom, that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions," unquote. Now remember, we're just looking to keep it in context. Chapters and verses were given much, much later, after this has been around for a considerable amount of time. So it's just trying to help us keep it so we understand what's happening. Daniel has just been delivered from the den of lions, from his 119 enemies, and he was 85 to 90 years old when he was thrown into the lion's den. He didn't break his hip. There was no surgery back then to take care of that. He would have died from that. He didn't get scratched up from the lions and get infections going. He didn't get eaten by them. God delivered him completely. And the king inspected his body. So let's now look at the parsing of this to see if we can get anything out of it. I make, let's parse that out, PL stem, casually written, passive participle, so passive to be. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble. That's PL stem, casually written, imperfect aspect, not complete. Continuing, men tremble and fear. PL stem, casually written, active participle. So it's an active to be. And fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever, and his kingdom which shall not be destroyed. Let's parse that. Now that's an IFPL. And what that means is, it is an intensive causative. And it's also an imperfect aspect, so it's not complete. Continuing on, shall be even unto the end. So that's the parsing of this. Now let's see if there's anything else that we can get out of our observation of this verse before we try to go into the meanings of it. Here it is. I'm looking at this verse, and Darius is making a proclamation, but how does he know this? He says that the kingdom, God's kingdom, shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be unto the end. It sounds like something that's cluing Daniel into his prophecy that he's about to receive in chapter 7. Is Daniel somebody who ponders these things, remembers what's said, thinks about it, and then things come up to help him? We don't know. We're about to find out, though. Now, I went through John Gill's commentary on this, and he doesn't give us much except for telling us what we've already read. There is nothing but a bunch of preaching in this particular commentary. He doesn't refer to any of the ancient commentaries. So I'm going to give you what he does not tell us, which is important. The king has made this decree. He's going to cover his entire nation with it. The vast distance of his nation and the mode of transportation. 9 days to go from one end to the other with horseback, and then, continuing on and spreading this through. If it went by quick and expensive. 90 days to go from one end to the other. This decree does not have an end to it. So I'm pretty sure he probably just put it out normal. It's going to cover the entire district that he has. And it's going to take 90 days for it to hit, and there's no deadline for cutoff. And remember, he has seen Daniel, who's 85 to 90 years old, get thrown in the lion's den, and not break a hip and come out without any marks that we know of. And so he's declaring that God is God. Daniel's God. Not his God. Daniel's God. Is this God now his God? I don't know. It doesn't tell us. Not yet. Let's go into the other verse and find out. So stay tuned. Please hit the like and the subscribe button. All comments have to be approved. Too many garbage ones like spam and porn try to get in there, and I'm just not allowing it. So I'll approve the ones that are good. If you have insight and all that, if you say, great, and I know it's not spam, I'll go ahead and put it in. So please go ahead and leave comments, because the genuine ones will be approved. Keep me in your prayers, please. And think about supporting this ministry. And keep me in your prayers. Thank you. God bless you.